Salute to all the real ones out there. It's your boy Mike coming at you again with another video. Yo, y'all like the content I've been dropping, the direction that my channel was headed in? I need you to like, comment, subscribe, and share my videos with anybody else you think may benefit from them, alright? Now, today's topic is going to be called immeasurable odds. Alright, immeasurable odds. And for all my Jay-Z fans out there, y'all know where that lyric comes from. But I'm more talking about my perspective as a young black man, understanding how the world works, doing my own independent research to understand like how black people have contributed to civilization, and just witnessing the propaganda as it lives through people who have been indoctrinated to just look at black people a certain way. And the reason why the video title was Immeasurable Odds is because honestly, like, I try to think positive, but I really just don't see black people shifting the narrative anytime in the next 100 to 200 years, because it's so deeply ingrained. The propaganda has been so strongly reinforced that it just doesn't even feel like there's any way for us to make the world respect or revere us the way that we should be, man. I mean, right now I'm reading The World's Great Men of Color, Volume 2, right? And within this volume is literally a huge comprehensive list of some of our brightest thinkers, most creative geniuses, doctors, lawyers, political activists, you know, people who revolutionize literature, science, painting, artistry, like so many different black men and women that can be considered noteworthy for the things that they achieved. But even when you think about when we went to school, man, you couldn't even get credit that anybody black did something significant for the world. Outside of Martin Luther King, who did we really hear about? You didn't even hear about Marcus Garvey or Malcolm X or any other just profound leader at that time. You know, and the narrative is so deeply ingrained in everybody's head that black people haven't done shit, that even when you bring up other people, it's more like a blank stare and a shoulder shrug, kind of like, oh, I didn't know that, or like it's a conversation that dies off quick without anybody being struck at how mind-blowing it is that all these things have been omitted from history, and for good reason, you know. So like, we're just faced with immeasurable odds, man. And even me as a black person who tries to carry myself in a dignified manner and, you know, would say that I'm sophisticated and I try to be regal in all that I do, you know, in my mannerisms, how I conduct myself out in the world. I understand that, like, even though I'm just one individual man, the way that I maneuver in life could be synonymous with change, because by me carrying myself in a certain demeanor and like upholding my race with the way that I act and walk and talk, it's like certain white people who thought a way about black people would maybe see me, and that could be the catalyst for change in their mind, because they saw me and they thought that I would be, you know, a certain way, and then come to find out that I'm totally opposite. That might be what they need to realize, hey, maybe my way of thinking was wrong about black people. But the reason why it's like immeasurable odds is because there's no way to fight all the propaganda that people have been fed over the years. You know, like, for example, I pull up in a nice car. All right, I don't look like a drug dealer. I don't have nothing to do with that type of activity. You know, I work hard. I put money away. I was literally in Kuwait for 3 whole years just trying to get some bread saved up and invested and all that. So, Fast forward, here I am back in Germany. I'm driving a drop top black Mercedes CLK, and some of the looks that I get just let me know that this topic that I'm covering right now is still a strong proponent in people's forebrain. You know what I mean? They immediately look they might feel a certain type of way because I'm a young black dude, and they might already start having their wheels turn in a direction towards illegal activity as to how I arrived at this point driving this car. Not realizing that my wife is a business owner and has been crushing it at her shop and her trade for the last 15 years. Not taking into consideration that I'm 37 years old and this car is literally a 2008 and it's used and it has like almost 200,000 kilometers on it. Not taking into the fact that like I'm a dude who hustled and grinded and worked hard and deserved to drive a nice car. It's all coming from a look of, that's a black person, why does he have the nice drop top car? You know, and it's an ongoing thing. Okay, I walk into a store, bro. There's a white dude who's literally in front of the store laying there dirty on like newspapers, literally sleeping on the ground. Like, just a poor German dude that no one even pays mind. Some people throw a little change in his cup, right? But when I go into the grocery store, the little security dude is like automatically pepped up and looking my direction everywhere I go, even though I'm clearly just, you know, filling up my little cart with essentials. Like, I got bread. I got a credit card with a $10,700 limit. Like, I got money put away. You know what I mean? My net worth is like 150K plus. And here I come to this grocery store often to just, you know, grab tomatoes, cucumbers, what have you. But I gotta be the one who has people scrutinizing me. I gotta be the one who gets looked at all odd, or has people, you know, scanning me up left and right, thinking that I might be up to something, devious. Meanwhile, there's a poor white dude that's just laying right in front of the store. No shame, no odd looks go his way. Like, it's totally okay. So basically, even the most clean-cut, sophisticated, dignified black male who works hard for his money is still lower on the totem pole than the bummiest, dirtiest, filthiest white dude that's just laying on the street with no shame in this world that we live in. You know, I remember watching Chris Rock back in the day where he was talking about like how he had to host the Oscars and be in movies and also be one of the top heavy hitting comedians just to have a house next to a white dentist. So think about that power distance, man. Like, that shit is insane. He basically said, I gotta fly just to get to a spot that a white man can walk to. And dog, I see and feel that everywhere I go, man. And it's so multifaceted, you don't even know where to begin. Like, for example, it even goes deep because the programming is also within black people themselves, because they've also internalized this notion that we ain't shit, we haven't done much, we come from slavery, yada yada yada. So there are black people who breathe life into the stereotypes and have a shoulder shrug, I don't give a fuck mentality when it comes to being corrected in that way. Because it's kind of like, oh, I'm just a nigga anyway, you know, so, you know, the world don't expect much from me anyway, so might as well, you know, live out this life. But in doing so, black people remain in a state of arrested development, because there's no way for us to really all together change the way that we approach living in the world, which would, like I said, have a ripple effect on the way that people think. Because if they saw more black people who carried themselves in a dignified way, there would be no association to this stereotype that keeps getting new life breathed into it. You know what I mean? Like, y'all could try to make us be pimps and hoes and this and that, but if every single black person was basically acting against that, it would be obviously make believe. It would be like blackface back in the day when they did the minstrel show. But the way that they have the system set up is so clever and wicked at in its implementation. Like, think about it. If I was a rich, let's say, power that be, and I control the music industry, all I have to do, which is what you can see now, is promote the dysfunction that emanates from that particular group of people. And of course, we're talking about black people. So what I do is I stifle all of the just pure raw talent that has a positive message, and I promote the latter, which would be anybody who's coming from a hood environment, screaming about gunplay, drugs, hoes, you know, basically devilish, satanic type topics. Anybody who's promoting that and is down to basically stay with that program, I can easily recruit them to my cause. And in the guise of entertainment, I'm indoctrinating the entire world and keeping stereotypes alive that honestly would have long evaporated if the real positive message was allowed to get out. Like, that's the type of battle that we're facing, and it's so deeply ingrained, like I keep saying, that I just don't see us really coming up out of it. I really don't, man. You know, like, I was always a black dude who, I kind of knew this inherently, that this world is set up to keep us in a certain little box, you know. And that's the reason why you notice certain things in the black community. Like, for example, if you speak properly, what have people teased and made fun of you for? Because you speak white. You talk like a white guy. So it's like, all right, so me showing intelligence and the ability to use the language correctly is automatically associated with whiteness. So in order to be intelligent or smart, I have to be white. So that's the underlying theme, right? Then you go to maybe date a girl. You like some girls, so you want to go talk to them. But like, if you ain't playing sports, or you ain't somebody who's rocking all this flashy clothes, most black girls ain't even trying to give you no play. So what's also being promoted in that? It's the fact that, like, unless you're a materialistic and all about wearing the newest clothes, newest shoes, this and that, like, you can't even get with an average black girl. She ain't gonna respect what you're about or what you represent. You gotta be hood, you gotta be a D-boy, you gotta be a athlete, you gotta be a player. Like, it's 1,000 different things that you gotta do just to get the attention of the average black girl. And of course, I'm not talking about all. I'm only going off my experience, all right? My wife is Turkish, and I've been with her for, 10 plus years, whatever. Y'all kind of know the story if you've been watching my channel. But it's even odd in that way, because, let me pull up with my wife, then automatically I'm getting looks, and there's always this assumption that if you're a black dude and you date outside your race, that you got an issue with your own kind, or you hate yourself, or you ain't strong enough to handle a black woman, that's why you ain't got a non-black. And it's like, yo, man, all of that shit is bogus, for real. First of all, I got with a Turkish woman because I didn't even know she was Turkish. Like, I didn't even have my mindset on, oh, I'm gonna go get this, that, and the third. I just realized, all right, if I keep doing the same thing, which is basically dating black American women, and I'm not getting the result I want, continuing to just date and have the same criteria is obviously not gonna get me where I need to be. So the minute I decided that I'm gonna have to open my mind about dating outside my race, literally the very next woman that I talked to was my wife. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying, like, black people, we are faced with immeasurable odds. Like, we're the only group on the planet that don't just practice group economics. We're the only ones on the planet who had our whole history shifted and remade into something that is completely false. And that's the narrative that gets force-fed down everybody's throat when they enter into compulsory schooling. So, like, I don't even really know how we're gonna fix the problem. All I know is that me, on an individual level, what I do to try to, let's say, change the dynamic is, number one, I just carry myself in a dignified manner and understand that the way that people perceive me collectively belongs to how they might perceive my race. So I act accordingly, right? I don't know. Y'all gotta tell me y'all thoughts. I mean, of course, I'm just one guy. I got a limited perspective on things, but that's all I got to say on this topic. You know what I mean? Like, comment, subscribe. Get down in the comments. Say what you got to say. I'll holler at you on the next one.